Good. So you basically heard my. How many of you haven't heard of what I said? And spent 20 years after that working on the internet and high-speed communications. So I was just a techie, no? Hardware techie, working on communications chips and so on. And so in engineering, you have to be in alignment with nature. Everything you do has to be in alignment with nature. Otherwise, whatever you're doing is not going to work. And in engineering, I was taught to do root cause analysis. Of any challenge, any problem, you have to find the root cause and address it. Otherwise, it's going to come back and bite you over and over and over. Then in 2005, I happened to see Vice President Al Gore's presentation on TV. And until then, I had no idea about what was happening in the environment. And I was so shocked by what he was saying. I told my wife, if half of what you say is true, I feel like I'm wasting my time working on the internet. And she said, if you think it's that important, why don't you look at it? So that's how I got into it. I had no idea when I started that it's going to be my lifelong passion. So within 3 months, I told her it's actually far worse. And we have to close our company and focus on this work. Fortunately, she agreed. So we closed our company, and I wrote to Vice President Al Gore and said, I got trained by him. It was in the second batch that he trained me. But during the training, I asked him a question. I said, if you take all the land that we're using to grow animals and replace them with forests, can we not reverse climate change? This to me was just a back level of calculation. That said, it should be able to reverse climate change. And immediately he turned to Roy Neal, his chief of staff, and he said, how did this guy get in here? And he didn't answer the question. So it's like, so I knew there was something that he didn't want to talk about. And when there is something that they don't want to talk about, I know that's where the problem is. So I started focusing. At that time, I was not even vegan. I was vegetarian. And I was reading all these papers that said that dairy, the footprint of dairy is just a little bit worse than vegan. If you're a lacto-vegetarian, it's probably a little bit worse than vegan. Boy, was I wrong. That is really bad analysis. So, and I didn't see that right away. I just read the papers and I thought they were right. And then I went to this forest in Rajasthan and I saw what was going on and I realized I had been fooled. It's a very old way of fooling in systems. It's called local sensitivity analysis versus global sensitivity analysis. So when you do a local sensitivity analysis, dairy is just a little bit worse than going vegan. Because when you do a local sensitivity analysis, you are saying one person switches from vegetarian to vegan. What is the impact? Not much. But if the whole world switches from vegan to vegetarian, that's a global sensitivity analysis, so you will see that it's horrible. But if the whole world switches to vegetarian, the planet will be dead today. Instantly. Why? Because vegetarians don't want to kill cows. So that's the way I was. But I wanted to drink milk, which means you are bringing new cows into the world. They are not killing them. So they live for 25 years, eating up the forest. By the time they finish, there is nothing for the deer to eat. The deer dies, and the deer dies, the tiger dies. So when I saw that, I realized vegetarian is the worst. And I went vegan on the spot. And I realized that. That was 2008, December. And at first I thought, can I do this? Because I love my curd rice. I'm salty. I love my curd rice. I love my pizza. I love my peras. Can I really do this? And at that time, we were living in California, and we were taking care of my mother-in-law who had had a stroke. And my mother-in-law is Gujarati, so she loves her Gujarati food. She couldn't cook anymore because she was paralyzed on one side, and I was doing the cooking for her. And because she doesn't like anything that my wife cooks. But she likes everything that I cook. So my wife said, I'm not cooking for her, you cook for her. So she asked me to cook some curry. And I made curry with soy curry. And she told me this is the best curry you ever made. So at that point I realized, we can do this. This is not so hard, right? And that was about a week after I went vegan. Then I had this huge sense of guilt lift off my shoulders. Because that's when I realized I could do this. And the guilt, I didn't know where I carried it from, but I had been carrying it obviously for a long, long time because it was such a huge relief I felt. I'm sure you've all felt something. Yes. And I didn't know what that guilt came from until I went back to Rajasthan and I saw a woman milking a cow. And so what she did was she released her calf. The calf was tied. She released the calf ran and started drinking. But within 30 seconds she was pulling the calf away. The calf was fighting her. He was too strong for her. So she called her husband over and they both pulled the calf away. They tied the calf in front of the mother. And the mother started licking her baby. And the calf was not bleating because he hadn't even started. And then she milked it. So she took maybe 8 liters of milk, so 2 big pots. And then she released the calf. So the calf would go and suck again. And it sends a message to the mother, you don't have enough milk, so make more milk next time. So this is how we interfere in the feedback loop between the mother and child. So then I remembered a conversation between my grandmother and my grandfather when I was 7 years old or so. Our parents used to send all of us to grandma and grandpa's place for summer. So this summer we just come, and my grandmother, I overheard my grandmother tell my grandfather that this particular calf is drinking too much. It's not leaving any milk for the children. What do I do? And my grandfather told my grandmother, don't let him drink to its fill, pull him away after 10 minutes. And I knew at that point, as a 7-year-old, that there was something wrong going on. But then I was told, you have to drink milk, you're not going to get calcium, the usual things that they tell us. And so I was drinking milk knowing that there was something wrong going on. That was the guilt I had. So I had that guilt for 40 years before this happened. So anyway, that was 2008. And I became actually quite depressed after that because I realized as one individual, what can I do? Who am I to change the whole world? Right? So that was the thought that was going through my mind. And I thought humans are the only species that doesn't belong on Earth. You take human beings out and the planet will be fine. Put human beings in and the planet dies. So that was my mindset until my granddaughter was born. She completely turned it around. Because she convinced me that she belongs exactly as she is. We all must belong exactly as we are. That we are not telling the right story. Okay? So I was not telling the right story. So then I started looking at everything from the perspective that we belong exactly as we are. And that we are doing the right thing. We are now going to transform as a result of that. And everything started making sense. But it was telling me that we have to transform as quickly as possible. So, how many of you have heard of the 2026 promise?
The pinky promise.
See that has something that you can reach. Exactly.
You just waiting for your autograph.
Vegan world 2026. Vegan world by 2026.
Props.
Yeah. And it's a promise, but it's actually a necessity. I mean, we have to do this. And people say, how can we make this happen? You know, look at all these people who are doing it. Say, this is not what other people are doing. We have to tell them that this is an urgent issue. Right? It's an urgent issue if you want to live on this planet. Yeah. When you go vegan for health or for ethics, you don't get a timeline. So you have to do it by this time. But when you do it for the environment, you get timelines. You see right away that you don't do it as soon as possible. I use the analogy of a fire. Okay. So you have a fire in your home, you change your routines. You don't say this is the time to make coffee, this is the time to have breakfast. No, you put out the fire first and foremost. So you focus on the fire and then you focus on rebuilding the home. And that's what's happening on the planet. There are fires going on. And these are fires that we set. Because we are the ones who control fire. And we've been setting bigger and bigger fires, and now the fires are going out of control. So I say there are 6 fires on the planet. And the good news is that if the world goes vegan, all 6 fires get put out. That's the beauty of nature. Perfect system design. So now we have to go and convince fellow human beings that there is a fire. There are 6 fires. And that if we all go vegan, we can put it out. And then you will have, you'll have plenty of water, you'll have plenty of food. So you can prosper on this. So I'm going to stop talking then and let's have a dialogue. So instead of monologue. Do you have any questions?
You always do hear lately that it's already too late. So I think that is an excuse most people find for not changing. But how much of reality is there? I mean, obviously things will change once you stop. But how later?
Well, see, I'm going to quote to you from Bhagavad Gita. He said, Lord Krishna tells us, the outcome is the same, no matter what you choose. The outcome is determined by us. And the only difference you make if you postpone taking action is how much suffering you want. Same thing here. We are going to try and get to a prosperous plan. You have no choice but to do that. Because you cannot keep going on this way. You have to turn it around. The sooner you turn around, the easier it will be. If you wait to turn around, then you say it's too late. But people are going to try to turn around. When you turn around, it's going to get harder. But any effort you put into making things better is never wasted. Because you are going to turn this around a little bit. And eventually maybe you pull it out. You never know. So this is why I say, bring back the forest, bring back the wild animals, go vegan as quickly as possible, and let's give it a shot. Yeah. Right now, actually, Mother Nature is sequestering most of our carbon emissions. We are not counting a lot of our carbon emissions. We are not counting because somehow nature is solving the problem. So we don't have to count it. They only count fossil fuels. So the way they count carbon emissions now is when you burn fossil fuels, they count 100% of it. When you cut down forests, they take a 72% discount. So what? This is not how you do engineering. They take 72% discount. Because they say, we cut over here, but we abandon land over there.
So it compensates.
So they reduce it. It's a fake accounting that's going on. And whatever we do with past and maintenance fires, so we chop off anything that's growing that the cows do not eat, we burn. That's not counted. We burn crops, it's not counted.
So what's being done at the government level is still doing things in countries, and the government keeps negating whatever efforts the citizens are doing. Nothing's going to happen because government is a far bigger machinery. They will give licenses to Adanis or the Reliances or the dikes, and whatever little effort, because our effort will be very small in compared to the demolition that we are doing. So is there anything that we are doing at the government level?
We have to keep that. So as we grow our movement, then the government will start paying more and more attention to us. If we don't grow as a movement, they can never help us. So right now, actually, Dr. Nandita Shah mentioned me with someone higher up in the defense department, the Indian government, and I'm trying to figure out when to meet him. So either today or maybe later. Because this is an issue of security. We are all being, colonized. We are all being exploited. And our government is supposed to be protecting us. Not just serving us up to the pharmaceutical companies. India is the diabetes capital of the world. How did it get to be the diabetes capital of the world? That's a government policy. Because the policies are all about growth, not about health. So these are the kinds of stories we need to tell them.
Because my Gujarat group right now is totally abuzz of only one topic. Is the focus the government is now giving to animal husbandry. It's in a huge way because that obviously is going to impact the environment. Because more lands would be required, clear to grow them, farm them, the word being used. Again, for the fodder, more forests would be cleared.
Right.
It would effectively affect the environment.
My advice to you is don't focus on it. Governments are temporary. They come and go, their policies will change. And when we focus on the negative, we tend to amplify. I said focus on the positive and amplify that.
So
Right?
where could we all, as individuals, do a small little thing which could collectively make a difference?
Well, telling stories, showing documentaries, having gatherings like this so that we strengthen each other, and working with the community, going out there and maybe having these potlucks and giving them the food. Right? So rather than making potluck food for 8 people, make food for 40 people. And instead of it here outside and try feeding people. You have a huge impact. Not huge in the festivals, but have a huge impact.
We should just look at next problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we can go to Lodi Gardens
Such a
somewhere, we
good
can have
idea.
some great food and ask people to come and
We don't need to eat. We can go without food once.
Yeah.
We can just give the food to people.
Yeah.
The aim
We
can
can
be
just
just
wait for people and then.
yes.
yeah, they can eat something like discuss, we can talk to them about documentaries.
If we don't eat, but we give it out.
Yeah.
Because that will give us chance to talk to them.
Yes.
It's not the food. It's how we can talk to them. Yes.
It's just like corporates do this after their product because they have their agenda. Our agenda is the positive agenda. In sample, give them a sample.
Especially dairy alternatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. We don't need too much rest of the stuff. We just need dairy alternatives and meat alternatives.
Coffee, like chai and coffee with
The basics.
Curry,
The basics.
curry,
No,
raita.
it's not the cakes and the pastries.
No,
It's
no,
the
no,
basic
no.
daily
Basic,
food.
yeah. And it's hard.
yeah.
The sustenance foods.
So in the UK there is an organization called We the Free. WTF. We the Free. And what they do is they offer people food if they watch a 3-minute video.
Oh, this is a very good idea.
It's a very good idea.
Yeah, 3-minute video. So they have like few stations set up. People come and watch the 3-minute video, and then they get the food. And then when they watch the video, they say, "Oh my God, this is what's happening with Chinese." I didn't know that.
Jyoti, this is all have no. You have on the laptop.
We have done that actually.
You've done and seen
So,
that, yes.
so there was this potluck for animal sale. So we had the food बच गया वो उसपे ना तो उसके बाद we went to we were in Sundar Nursery, so we reached out to people and asked them to see a 1-minute video of dairy and then asked them if you watch the video you'll get to eat this food. So, also we
Yeah. How was the response? How was the response?
it was good. We told them okay, this is a food that is like not
Why
made
is
from
it
dairy
eating
products.
or wasting your time eating our own? Seriously.
So let's get to this idea. Like from the next time we should go in public parks.
Absolutely, we should stop these kind of
Yeah,
programs.
yeah.
Let's promote daily for
This also has the
They can take them anywhere get reach.
Or what we can do after our meals, maybe sharing the department where we eat first and then we give the rest to people. We can make extra for like
Yeah, so let's change our format a little bit and make it more meaningful.
Make it more time for distributing, having a more knowledge. Yeah.
Because we've had potlucks in governance. It's a very